the end. All life on Earth as we know it will be totally destroyed, and Earth itself will be blown out of its orbit.
This, of course, is a situation we hope will never come to pass.
Well, that's really a good joke. That's really that's a start.
You're sadly mistaken. If you think I'm joking, 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 you're sadly mistaken. Think I'm joking, you're sadly mistaken. If you think I'm joking, you're sadly mistaken.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this wondrous event of amazing Quake ahead of us. I'm XERIAL, and today I have with me two special guests that will assist me in making this evening pleasant for you. I have Lethalwiz, legendary CTF player. I almost said CSGO player there, and then we would have had to shut down. I had to go and hide until he would come here and punish me. And I also have also legendary CSGO player Maikelele. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very nice to have you here. You both have been invited for different reasons. Lethalwiz, you have very kindly agreed to help me cast the game we have ahead of us, and also, of course, contribute with your many years of experience as a player. And Mike, you're not a Quake player, but as you and I have talked several times lately, there are so many similarities when it comes to the game overall, the meta, the preparation, etc. So it's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Yeah. Hey, anytime. Anytime. So I did forget to mention here in the introduction that the topic of tonight is the semifinals in the Draft Masters 2, which is going to be Ass versus Cool Dudes, and we will get to that in a minute. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you guys to perhaps say a few words about, who are you and what are you up to these days? What makes you tick outside of social life? Who wants to go first?
I can go first. So, Lethalwiz, as you said, I've been around for a while. XERIAL, we even you and I used to play 4-on-4 back. I think it's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those gamer boomers. Used to play this game. I think it released in '96. I got a copy of it late '96 from my brother, who thought it was a bit too scary. And from there on, I've been playing CTF, TDM, etc. Just as anyone else, I've gone for a hiatus and come back, played other games. So nowadays, I try to, whenever I get the time to play, Draft League, the EQL, etc. So and sometimes you can see me do some casting, or as I've been in stage shows as well during the QH LAN that we have almost every year. So that's pretty much where you can find me and what I've been doing lately.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. You know, Pep, he abandoned me in my toughest of times. He went AWOL. Well, he didn't go AWOL. He actually played well and made it to the playoffs and into the semifinals. So he has to play himself. So here I am all alone, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks for that.
I fully understand that, knowing Pep as well.
Yeah. He has that maybe tendency to play well and to, do his thing. And I hope we get to see more of that tonight. Mick, or I should not use the sort of childhood version of your nickname. I should call you Maikelele, which is it's easy to talk about you as Maikelele to others, but I can't call you Maikelele because I've known you since you were born, since you are my cousin. But let's not delve into that now. How are you, and what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm good, and I'm doing a little bit of this and that, I would say. I'm playing CS here and there. I'm enjoying life, and I have some stuff planned for the future. But I mean, maybe I should introduce myself. My name is Michael, also known as Maikelele. I played professional CS for approximately 12 years, something like this. And I was in the absolute top for 4 or 5 years, where I played for teams such as NIP, FaZe Clan, and G2. And I played on the biggest stages around the world. I traveled everywhere you can think of. And I have achieved a lot in the game. And now I'm here. And I'm expecting big things to happen. I'm looking forward for this. And I mean, I know XERIAL, maybe I should call you that now to be professional. I mean, you were my GOAT once upon a time, and still are, but or still is.
And it's fun that you mentioned all those achievements, but you didn't mention the biggest one, which was that you are the one who made me love CS:GO, CS. I've always been categorically against it, but because of your success, I couldn't. I had to watch and I had to learn, and had so much fun watching your games also. And, yeah, again, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And another purpose of bringing Maikelele into the stream is to give that outside point of view, noobish perspective of asking questions. What's that? Or what's happening? And also maybe draw parallels to the two games that are involved here. Gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and we have some certain themes I want to dig deeper in. But looking at the clock, we have 8 minutes, and there is a game starting soon that I do want to dig into a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is now gonna turn up the lineup, and we should talk a little bit about the two lineups as such, which players are in, how do they face off. We're gonna look at the stats, matchup stats after this also. But Elvia, what do you think about the captain of AS, Ande? I think you know him quite well, don't you?
Yeah, there's two friends of mine on that team, both Ande and Pep. We've known each other for a long time. As we all live in the Stockholm area, and playing Quake, that's usually how it goes. And maybe you want to go into something about the Draft Masters tournament just quickly before I mention it, or have we already discussed it for viewers?
Yeah, I guess we could say that for those that don't know, that the Draft Masters is basically Summer Quake where no clans from the regular season are played or used. Instead, it was voluntary sign up, of course. Admin seed the top players, then they draft pick out of the total player pool. They take turns of picking, and that ended up with a number of teams. And maybe that's enough for now. But yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think so. When the draft was set and done, I looked at this and thought for myself that these are among all of the other teams. Of course, these two were pretty evenly matched. But since we have seen already the group stage play out, Cool has been pretty much on a tear. I think they won all their games. Maybe lost a few maps. And Goshu as a captain seems to really have got his crew together. But all the while, because they won, I think, versus Anders team 3-0 when they met in the group stage, so they should be favored, and I actually favor them. But with that said, I have to say that I've seen Anders team play very, very well the last couple of games, so I got some hopes for them. But I still gotta say I favor Goshu's team, just looking at the track record.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. We will of course come to the actual life and death predictions soon enough, but yeah, look, if you look at what strikes me as very interesting with this team is that even though a draft is supposed to be sort of a vehicle of getting even teams and good games, even within that context, I think these two teams are very even. If you compare them player to player, you have Ande on Ass, you have Goshu on the other side. Both obviously captains, obviously high-end players, although Goshu might be a bit more high profile of a player. Coming from, I think he probably has the best movements in the game at the moment. Like the way he moves is extraordinary. Ande obviously has a lot more experience, and I think he's stronger on TB3, whereas Goshu probably has the edge on Phantom Base and Schloss. Now, looking at the Norwegian matchup, if we can call it that, the matchup within the matchup, so to speak, you have Timmy on Ass and you have TCO on Cool, both from the same clan, same country. We have to give the benefit to Cool. TCO is the captain, he's the team star, more experienced, more high-profile player. But what about the next one, where we have old legend gamer from probably, arguably the best Slackers team that ever was, presently in KOF, against Splash from Hell Express. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, so gamer, I would obviously pit him against TCO just because they're from the same era, they're old timers. But pitching against Splash is interesting from another perspective. I mean, Splash to me is one of those what do you want to call them, like 2-on-2 forever players. He's always on a server playing 2-on-2, especially I see him around with my old friend OK98. Wild Gamer and his camaraderie with Scenic, they used to play a lot of 2-on-2 back in the day. Though with that said, for today, I would say that Splash might be the more his aim and movement might be a bit better than Gamer's, as he is a new upcomer. But Gamer's routine, I think, matches TCO's, so that's an interesting matchup, definitely.
Yeah, it is, and I think Splash is at his peak form. I talked to OK98 the other day, in a mix, and I talked a little bit about the draft, and he said that, and coming from him, he's one of those guys who's played the most with him, that if he says he's at his peak form, he's never played as good Quake as he is doing now. Yeah, that means something. He could also say, why are you playing your best Quake now, and why didn't you do it in the EQL season that just ended? But that's a different story.
That would be my question as well.
Yeah. Shame on you, Splash, for saving your best ammunition to the draft. Yeah. Okay, so last sort of, and you are right, I mixed those two. It's not fair to compare Timmy with TCO since they were from two different draft bracket, so to say. But it's hard not to, given that they're from the same class and the same
Well,
country.
I gotta hand it to you anyway, because you're onto something. Because I feel like Timmy might be the Norwegian who could pick up the torch from TCO, who's the old timer. So there's something there. I give you that.
Yeah.
But can I ask a question about this?
Please.
So we have the Norwegians playing for the same team, right? Do they
Normally,
know each
yes.
other in and out?
Oh yeah.
Normally.
Oh yeah.
So is that gonna affect how they are playing? Like, are they gonna try to switch it up, or are they gonna just go with whatever they have going on in their respective teams outside of this? You know what I mean?
I would say that it's you're onto something there. When you play against your clanmate in a draft or in a 2-on-2 or whatever it might be, you're not gonna. It's like when I used to play, elite football as a 15-year-old. When I got a yellow card, my dad was the coach. He immediately substituted me. It didn't matter. He didn't do that if someone else got a yellow card. It's because he was harder on his own. And I think that's what happens when you play versus clanmates in other circumstances, that you really want to, I'm going to show that I'm actually the highlight person from this clan in this game at the moment.
I totally agree, since I talked to some of the Norwegians, both on and off the pitch, so to speak, and it's like they have a set, not hierarchy, but how they act within the game and within the team. And now all of a sudden they're tossed out into different teams, so that'll make it a possibility maybe for some other players to show what they got. So
Right. Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. And let's see if we can make some stats also after the lineup. The warm-up is still pre-war on DM4, so hopefully we have some time. We have Peppe on the side of As, our common friend and colleague, and I don't want to say ally, it implies other things, but you know what I mean. And then we have Plast on the side of Cool. What can we say about that comparison? What strong maps, overall performance, experience of important games? What do you think, Elvia?
Well, obviously I know much more about Peppe than I know about Plast, but I have been playing against Plast for many games, so I know he's a strong. Really among the best Polish players. That's obviously why Gosha picked him, which means they're usually strong D2 players. But lately also looking at might also be to the Kenya maps, the Schloss and Phantom base of the world. But Peppe also is one of those guys. I wouldn't say so much DM2, but definitely super strong on Phantom base and Schloss. So that's especially where you should watch out for him. And he's very active, also playing duels as long with that 4-on-4. So as you said, with Splash, I would say Peppe is in his best form of his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a combination of on both sides here of, if we can call them late bloomers, or people that started Quake much later than sort of the first wave, and I don't want to say originals, but first wave, second wave of Quake players, which makes this all the more interesting. The guys are still on DM4, so I'll try to, before we move on to sort of the predictions here, I'll try to give us a chance to look at some stats. And as always, I don't take any responsibility at all for any stats that I give. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I do. This is data coming from, pracs and officials together with no distinction, really, because people are not using the match tag. Please do that. Particularly focusing in on the matchup of Ass and Cool, where you have some last scores in the top, and you have some map stats in the middle, and then biggest win, and then recent matchups. I
need to ask you, really, how do you get this fantastic setup with stats? It seems like everyone's holding it to very close to their chests. I haven't seen the setup before. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish we could make a stream talking only about that project. But let's just say that it's been many nights, weekdays, evenings, and Santam has helped a lot in getting the data. And I have to give some credit to ChatGPT to learn Python, and also to my good old friend Jave, who has been of great help in killing your darlings, so to speak. But thanks for asking. Thanks. So maybe we won't have time to go through all of these, but one thing I want to focus in on here is the amount of maps played together. If you look to the middle, Cool has 32 maps played together, as has 22. It's still not a huge data set, right? But that makes it all the more important. If you're just a mix and you play together, anything can happen. But the more you play together, the more sort of glued you will be together, the more you will understand your teammates, roles kind of manifest organically. And I think that will matter. And the second point I want to make is that, and this is I'm not trying to take degrade my own teammates here, but Cool has played a lot versus Milton's team, which is obviously a super strong opponent, and that also matters. Who do you face, and how many times? And I think that favors them as well. They have been taking this very seriously. What do you think, Elvin?
Yeah, and that goes to show that Goshu comes from SK, who was playing so many hours against Milton's team outside the draft, before the draft. But it also kind of goes back to what I think about Andy's team. I think they've been exponentially better, which is of course true for most teams, right? The more games they get to play together, since this is such a short time to grow in to the team play, they become better, which gives me a hope that they can actually take down Cool.
Yeah.
And if we got some time, I just because we got Maikelele on stream, I'm just curious. How do you see the whole thing about using stats like these going into games? Is this something you've been working a lot with during your career?
Absolutely. I think it's basically like knowledge about the other team without knowing too much about them. Especially when it comes to the maps. Like in CS, most of the time we have best of 3, and we have a 7 map pool, competitive map pool. So you kind of know instantly which map they prefer, which map they are banning, etc., etc. So statistics overall in CS is very important. When it comes to player statistics, individual statistic, it doesn't really matter at all. I mean, kind of who's the star player and who's the support player, etc. Right. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the last thing we should talk about here before the game starts, which will be I think any minute now. It looks like the guys have gone all out, starting with Schloss. I failed to see who it was that picked it. Any help from chat would be appreciated. But that is a super interesting map for this matchup, because we truly have some really skilled players on Schloss on both sides. Question is though, who will take it? Who's gonna take Schloss? What do you think, Elvia?
Oh yeah, well, you said it was a life and death prediction, so this one's rough. I to be honest, this is super hard, but I still gotta go with Goshu's team on this map, even though I know this is super strong for Amanda.
Yeah, and I will agree with you. We can see that AS has a 100% win rate on Schloss, unless there is some bug in the data collection. I don't think so. Now we're very close to starting here, so I will transition so we can go ahead. Guys, let's have some fun, and we can give the prediction during the game here. Here we go.
Well, there we go. So looks like team cool with Timmy. He's got Pent, which is of course super important for the start. That makes it possible for him to secure one of the next rocket launchers. I would say either Cathedral or Tower, and then go for, or at least, and of course the red armor. Red armor goes first, since it's 20-second respawn on that. So he's securing Cathedral while his friends are setting up red.
Yeah, and it's being overrun now. Oof. That ended fast.
Yeah, this is quite crazy, to be honest. Because since this map is also so new, I'm saying it's new because it's only been around for a few years. Still, people are trying to figure out how to get the start going, and the quad is so hard on this map to I would kind of compare it to E1M2, where it's like, if you go for the quad, you either have to be super stacked and very confident, or you don't want to have a stack at all, so you can't lose anything, because it's so hard to survive with the quad if you pick it up.
Very true. It's a map with its own conventions in a way. It kind of borrows from many of the other maps, but I think it really stands on its own, and I think that's partly to explain its popularity, why it has remained. And
see now is also like the score is even, which it usually is at this point. But how do you see the Pent? Because I feel like it kind of resembles Steam 3 when it comes to risk and reward. How do you look at it, Zero?
Well, I look at Pent as a phone booth on this map, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And it's I think I have said it before, to me, Pent is like the stock market, right? It doesn't necessarily, of course it does matter, don't get me wrong, but the value of it is a bit inflated. Part of the value comes from the fact that everyone goes there. And if you don't get it, it's most likely going to be at least a partial reset of the weapons in your team that you kind of technically could have avoided by not going there. But the risk is too big not to go there. So any map that has Pent is going to be, any Pent on any map is going to be crucial. That's for sure. But it is a very tricky place to hold down. I'm not sure even if we have figured it out the perfect way yet. But be there on time, be many, and use shotgun guys to kind of block the path for the incoming ones, I would say.
This is the next one. Sorry, Michael, just go ahead whenever you feel like it.
No, I was just wondering, like, when it comes to all this quad and everything, like, how hard is it to play without it? And are you all automatically dominating everything if you get like the first and the second one, or how does it like affect the game in the long run?
I love that question. That's a really good one. Can I answer
go
first?
ahead.
Yeah, because I think you're onto something, because sometimes it's really I would say a hazard to pick up the quad. Of course you have the team damage, which makes it very likely for you to kill yourself in the process. So it's a good question. What do you think, Zero?
Could you repeat the question, Mike? Sorry, there was a chat here about the volume, so I had to back off a bit. Say again, please.
I was just wondering, like, how, like, can you play without the quad and everything? Like, in the long run of the game, can you like get back on track without it? Like, do you understand? Like, in the long run, can you win the game without having a quad? And how much do you actually lose, and how much do you actually gain in terms of advantage when you have it, Because I assume that when you have the quad, you want to play more aggressive. Because
I would say that the dependency on quad varies from map to map. So E1M2 that Elvia mentioned earlier is probably the map where quad matters the least. But there will, I would say, just like from the top of my head, based on at least some, intuition, data, and years of experience, I would say that the correlation between winning a game and having gotten the most quads is extremely high. it's extremely high. You can win a game. Okay, here we got Ghost, we got the Pent here. You can win a game without having most quads, but most of the time, you're gonna win the game if you have the most quads, and that's why you should always, most of the time prioritize it if you can.
Do you have any like competitive modes without it, or is it will it always be there? I mean, I assume Quake is like that's the thing for Quake, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean 4-on-4 there's always quad, but in 1-on-1 there is no quad. For example, in 2-on-2
there are maps that are going without Pent, so yeah, but usually there's always quad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So what's happening in the game now? We're 6 minutes in almost. We have a solid lead here.
So it looks like actually Andy's team is no, I'm getting the team colors confused here. Cool is pulling away. They're up 40, 50 frags almost. And that is kind of goes back to what you were asking, Mike, about the quad. I mean, quad can also be. I think this is kind of goes to if you're what kind of set of team player you're into. But if you go for quad, that means that opens up like red armor area, for instance, which is super important on this map. As if the enemy teams all go for quad, then that opens up an opportunity. What would you say, XERIAL?
Oh yeah. That is the case. We just saw Timmy, with the quad, even though they're down quite a bit, and if nothing else, it's about denying it to the enemy and stopping that flow of frags coming your way, which I think he did. Now he's back at quad again. Yeah.
Beautiful play. Controlling tower area for the next rocket launcher. So and you asked me, XERIAL, in the beginning, the prediction for this map. This is one of those maps I feel like Andy's team really has a shot, because Andy, Pepe, I mean, they love this map, so they could easily have a good day and run away with it also, even though they're below or trailing right now.
Yeah, you can, I feel like, as said earlier, the Schloss borrowing elements from other maps, and one map, it borrows the element of high-paced fragging being possible to achieve and turning games quite fast is, I think, DM2. You have 2 rockets. It's not that big a map, at least doesn't feel like it. So the lead now it's substantial, but not that big. You can turn this around. You can easily turn this around with the amount of time is left, but you still have a lot of time left.
Seeing now, Gamer's picking up the quad and making a great work with it. He's just trashing people right and left, and that opens up some space for his teammates to secure other parts of the map.
Oh yeah.
This is such a tough spot to enter red with quad. I've done it a couple of times and realized afterwards that maybe that wasn't the best. I've seen a few people the way when you go on top graveyard and like just pot shots with the quad into red, it can work sometimes, but it's very, very hard to get into red and secure.
Oh yeah, it is, and this, I think I might be off here, but at least from my point of view as a player coming back from 20 years, coming back in October, this is the map where if you have like excellent movement, you can really gain a lot from that. We have the quad jump on DM2 from big to high, which is one of those things. If you can master that, that's a game changer potentially. But I feel like Schloss has even more so, and not necessarily with the rocket, but only, dancing into to the red spot from the side completely unexpectedly. It's impossible to predict unless you're outside. It's such a power move to do.
Yeah, you're right. That's one of the ways the Quakeworld has evolved the last 5 to 10 years, I would say. and this map especially explores that part. So this is the Pent and Gamer Snatch. That's a real great positive for Team Ass. I'd love to say the team every time.
Yeah, yeah. I think the admins should have done something about that, but it's too late now. We just have to accept it.
I've heard worse during my time at QWCTF, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you about the maps? You said that this map is a few years old. What is a few years?
I think technically it's way older than that. I mean, technically,
Like
I
you
think
said, you quote unquote new, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I said so because it's been lately. I think it's been one of those official maps just the last couple of years, right?
I'm a bit afraid to say because I think it got accepted sort of almost as a standard way before I came back. But the story, as far as I know, is that it was made a long time ago. Like we're talking maybe 15 years or so. Chat could perhaps help out, but it's new in the sense that Quake is so old. So E1, M2, DM2, DM3, or the big three as we call them, they were there from the start, right? So anything after that is new.
All right.
Yeah.
But so in CS, as pro players, we were always very skeptical, and we really didn't like when they added new maps because we kind of wanted the same maps. So like you can see maps. I mean, if you should know what Dust 2 is, for example. It's like one of the oldest map in CS. It's been there since I don't even know when they actually released it, but it's always been there and it's still there. And I assume you also have these type of maps that you have pretty much spent more time on than you have been spending with your own family, you know?
Oh yeah. But I can't relate to this thing that old players are close-minded and only want their own maps. That's never happened in the Quakeworld community. Any new map that has been suggested by map makers have been like embraced with open arms fully off the bat.
All right.
Are you really serious now?
No.
Even if you get to think about it.
I'm actually not serious at all. It's total sarcasm.
No, that's very much true, and I think it's even worse in Quakeworld than it is in CS. Either 1.6 or CS:GO. I'm kind of impressed with CS players too, who I mean, there's a rotation every now and then with a few maps. As soon as you get to know it seems like they put it out of rotation. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, lately we have had, I think our latest two maps are new-ish, but usually when they have been swapping maps, we swap like after maybe 6 months or something like that, we swap one map for another one, and it's usually been the same maps, they're just updated a little bit better, etc, etc. So it's still the same maps, more or less, except for the last maybe 2 or 3 times. It's been completely new maps, and I'm pretty sure 99% of the community or the competitors actually don't like it.
Just one thing here. We just saw Andy with a quad crucially taking out pretty much the entire team, or all the rocket launchers in the cool team. 6 minutes left, a bit short of 50 frags. This is still doable, I would say, but we're getting to a point where you have to, establish and control and maintain that during the remaining minutes here, and that's going to be difficult.
I give some credit to Gamer as well. He's just before Andy picked up that quad, he picked up Pent, he picked up a couple of quads, and he's been doing a fantastic job. But I feel this is like it's like when you see Ghosh's real team, so to speak, SK, when they play any of Phantom Base or Sloths. It's like you make a great play, but they still keep up the lead or increase it. It's like they know where to move on the map and get those extra frags.
Yeah, and conversely, also where to go and not bleed frags into the opposing rocket launchers. That is very important when every frag counts. We used to have this concept when I came back. I played in TOT, sort of in the preseason.
Just depends. Sorry, I just this that picks it up. This could be. I love to say the word crucial for all Quakeworld players. And he gets the quad as well. Let's see what he can do with this one. We're talking about movement, and they has some great movement and great aim. Beautiful play. The question is like this map also. Don't you agree, XERIAL? It's kind of hard just to run down people because you can pretty much outrun the pens on this map.
Yeah, and there's a lot of turns. So you go the wrong way, you jump in, and you go the wrong way, the guy might escape. So you can hide, you can maneuver.
I would like to say it's a map with 4 different rooms, pretty much. If you get what I'm saying, there's not a single access point in the middle.
True.
So what's Michael and I, with respect that you haven't really seen this map before, but talk about maps. Is there some maps that favor some players and teams more than others, like with the layout and how the play style that like correlates to what we're seeing? Because we talked about movement for some, or just outright aim being a more important part.
Definitely. I mean, when you have long-range maps, it favors AWPers. I was an AWPer, which is the big green sniper in CS, if you didn't know that. I mean, we have maps like Train, Dust 2, which is great examples for an AWPer. But then obviously you have other maps called Inferno is a very tactic map, like you need good strategies, synergy with your team. So yeah, I mean, for sure, like some maps favors some other people, and I mean movement comes from Quake, right? And I know that in the early stages of my career, me and my friends always warmed up playing Instagib in Quake 3 or 4 or whatever it was, because the movement is just very important in CS. That's one thing I always tell people that want to become good. I tell them to get good movement, because it's just so important to be flexible, just jump around. When it's hard to kill you, that's the most annoying for your opponent, when it's hard to catch you. And I assume it's the same here.
Yeah, I think XERIAL will agree, seeing as we have played a few DMR4 maps lately.
Oh yeah, it just warms my old cold heart to hear you say that movement comes from Quake. Really nice. We have 2 minutes left now, guys, and the lead has shrunk, not in the pace you would want to see, and we're reaching a point where this is not going to be doable. Arguably, we're already past it. Gamer does pick up the quad though, doesn't have a lot of health, and yeah, he just picked up a rocket. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, this team is up against the ropes. They can, I mean, theoretically make it, but looking at how been doing so far, I agree, it's not really doable. It's exactly 30 frags up right now.
Yeah, and you could go hide basically here now, and it's not gonna go.
That would also be a tactic, right, in the game. When you have like a smaller lead than this, then you just try to run away. Does it make sense? Does it work like that? Oh yeah, it happens. And some of the most exciting games are when it gets at that point, because Quake is such a game that you can't employ that tactic all the time, and you can't do it when it's 10 minutes left, because it's so high paced and so much happens. So you really need to make a conscientious decision. Hey, should we hide or not? And sometimes people make that decision too early, and they pay the price.
It's 20 frags and less. They're actually making a really decent effort. 15 frags, 14
3
frags,
rocket launchers on.
This is doable all of a sudden. Man, now it's 12 frags, but they need to get 1 frag every other second now. Jesus, 10 frags, 18 seconds. And they lost all control on the Ghost team. 9 frags. Jesus, now we're down to 7 frags. 5 frags, 3 seconds left.
Wow.
They won't make it.
Wow.
Damn, that got really entertaining at the end. But that's probably what happened as well. Like they started to hide and pretty much lost all the control of the map. If that pretty much answers, I think, your question, Michael. What would you say, sir?
Yeah, that's the risk that you take. That you start slow spawning, as it's called, when you have a fixed time for spawning that you can dodge when you die by pressing space or shooting. But when you slow spawn, you let that full duration play out before you spawn again. And if you do that too early, well, the thing that's going to happen is that the other team is just going to pick up all the resources and gain control and potentially map lock. And that's what happened there in the last minute. Very close call.
I think that's the beauty with it. Like we haven't still really figured out when to slow spawn or not. I see that all the time in even the highest like skill tier of games.
True. But hey, can I ask you guys? So now we're at a point where as play, I don't know if they picked it, their best map, their strongest map, and they lost with such a small margin. That's a mental setback right there. How do you get back from that? And I'd like to direct the question to you, Mike, since you've played, on big stages, in front of, tens of thousands of people and if not, millions of people if you consider the VODs. How do you do it? How do you get back from that?
You have to be strong mentally, man. Like, that's all I can say. There are some times it's very hard to get back on track. I can give an example. I played in a major semifinal and we won the first map. And this was against the best team in the world when we were up-and-comers. We won the first map, and the second map we had 3 match points, and we managed to lose it. And then we are obviously going into the third map, but we were just devastated. We were tired, and everything was just really awful for us. But this was the early stages of my career, and then all of a sudden you just start to comprehend and learn how to do it. It's hard, but you just need to believe in yourself and believe in your own skill and your team, basically. And if you do that, then a loss is nothing more than a little setback, and you can still win.
Yeah, wise words. How do you see? Because I'm looking at the team. We have 2 captains in each teams, and where As actually might have the benefit is, I haven't played with Goshen myself, and I know he's a tremendous player. But Andy, I know from experience, he is a leader here. He leads these guys. He tells them what to do. He encourages them. How much does that play, in effect, that someone steps up?
A lot, I would say. I have always been the team captain. I have not been the in-game leader, which is the guy that calls the tactics and everything. I've been the captain. And something I was always working on was to get good at getting the team together and, help each other, both in and out the server. If you have, there's probably someone on the server that they were low fragging, obviously. And then it's your job as a captain to tell him, like, it happens to everyone, everyone misses, everyone have a bad day, you can do it, But yeah, it's very important to have a good leader, I would say. And if you have a good leader, it's also going to show on the server when they join in and start playing.
True, and let's see if Andy can encourage the guys, keep them afloat, so to say, to make sure that the score is evened out. We have 1-0 in the favor of Cool Dudes in the semifinals of Draft Masters 2. First map was Schloss. Now we are pretty much 1 minute into E1 M2. What's going on, Elvia?
Yeah, we're into the second map. We talked about E1 M2, that it has some similarities with Schloss. Cool is up. They got the first quad and even though Anders team got the first rocket launcher, but that doesn't really mean anything right now, because this is one of those maps, right? That, and you know this as well. Yeah, it will usually be a close, tight score all the way to the finish line, and that is why this map is one of those we talked about, slow spawning in the end. Some people or some teams are better at it than the others, and then do it at the right time, and some do it just a bit too early, and therefore loses on the at the end. So we'll see, but it's super close right now, 29 to 25.
Right, and it's the only map really where, you know, you asked before, Mike, about the correlation between, securing the majority of quads with winning the game, and as said before, this is one of those, or maybe the only map where quad isn't that important. What's important is what you're looking at right now. It's the yellow armor. We see a rocket launcher being gifted to Splash there. Quad running out, trying to hold on yellow. Could need some backup. That's a crucial thing on this map.
How do you see Serial? I just want to ask you about, because this I think is very interesting. I know there's such much focus on yellow armor, and that's super true. But every now and then, it's like when the enemy team is locked down on yellow, there's a mega, and I mean that's not to frown upon. With the mega with the green armor, how do you like talk to your team when you're down and don't have control of yellow armor?
I think maybe the most important thing, or at least one of the most important things in that situation, when you're down, enemy team has control of yellow. You want that mega and you want that green, right? To build a stack to contest quad or sneak into yellow. But you need to use your buddies, right? You're not going to have a bunch of weapons. You most likely you'll have one rocket, maybe you'll have two. But the other two that are just, running with a shotgun, you need to send that guy into mega first to check, because walking into mega blind, you should not do that. It's a huge risk. But send him in, shout out on comms, someone go in, check mega, or even better if you have the awareness, hey LV, you don't have anything, go check mega now, report back. Or just send him in first, and stand behind him, because that's a distraction that will make the guy who potentially is camping there shoot at him first, and then you get an advantage from kind of sneaking in and shooting at him.
I think that is also something we talked about. Counter-Strike and Quake having a lot of similarities, and it's all very much about the maps. This one is so narrow that there's like you can pretty much, even though you don't have a sniper rifle, you can actually just stand there and spam entrances. So you really need to like throw someone in front of you if you get a stack.
Oh yeah. And I do have to give. Go ahead, Mike. No, go ahead, Mike.
Is this map from the campaign?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the one of the episode maps.
Yeah, I wonder when I actually played that. I must have been a kid, but I remember this.
Yeah, it's funny that you remember that, because it is the only map in the team deathmatch map pool. And I don't know, Elve, you know about Capture the Flag way more than I do.
Yeah.
But is it the same over there, that there's only one map from the episode maps in the pool, and that's this one?
Well, since the CTF scene, it's barely alive these days. There's a couple of new maps, but there in CTF there were usually a ton of episode maps, just like these. So all the maps that starts with E, that stands for episode, right?
Yeah.
But in deathmatch, it's just E1, M2 left. DM3, DM2, they were, ID Software, they created those especially for TDM, which makes it all the more interesting that E1, M2 is still around, right?
Indeed. I have a soft spot in my heart just for that reason that you mentioned, Mike.
I feel like it's crazy. I actually recognize it. I must have been 5-6 years old when I played this one. It's 30 years ago.
It's like pulling out your grandfather's jacket from when he graduated, you know, and wearing it makes you feel part of something
beautiful.
bigger than yourself.
I thought you were going to say pull out your teeth, but no, I get it. No, I love this map as well. It's one of my favorites, and it's great to see these teams. I mean, for me, it's also like you might agree, might disagree, XERIAL, but TCO was one of those Norwegian players from back in the days who used to be a awesome player on E1M2.
Oh yeah, I fully agree, and I would charge anyone who disagrees with that to not know what they're talking about. TCO is a master of this map, and one of the best ones at E1M2. I hold him in high esteem here. Razor from Slackers as well. Those two in the same team. I had the pleasure of playing with them in the latest Uppsala LAN Draft Master, and we did very well on E1M2, I can tell you that. And it wasn't so much because of me. It was those two gentlemen.
You'd just be guessing here, but since the Norwegian team, X-Man, as they're called, they seem to have been best at E1M2, and I got a favor TCO for that.
Oh yeah.
We're following you right now.
Yeah. Indeed, very, very strong player. And it's one of those maps where the team play is different. It's the reason that the quad is not that centric. It's because it's so narrow. It's because there's so little armor and there's so few weapons that I think it suits very well a team where you have one or two really strong mechanically and game awareness strong players that have two or three players that might not be as good but still follow the lead and the comms and the direction. Because you can think of it like a star player that walks around with a meat shield of the other players. You know, I'm exaggerating a bit, but you know what I mean, that support me, you know, even if you don't have anything, just being around me will help me, distracting, taking shots, and that might be one of the reasons why Axe has had such great success on this map.
I totally agree. That's why we've seen Milton also with his team. Usually he ends up with 120 frags plus. I think that so you're saying it has some valid, it's a valid point, definitely. I'm just gonna say that I was proven wrong, obviously, because this map usually is very, very close score-wise. This one seems not to be that kind of game. XERIAL, could you explain maybe what's happened during our talk here? Because Goshu's team has really taken off.
Yeah, I think we've seen solid control of yellow, and yeah, I mean we shouldn't. We're talking about TCO here, which is logical as such, but we also have Timmy, who is from the same clan. He's not top fragging at the moment, but he does come from that pool of experience on this map, so he's going to be stronger here. Oh, sorry, no, he's actually on the other team, so that's the first fuck up of the evening, gentlemen. About Cool, I want to say that, yes, we have TCO, as mentioned earlier. We have Goshu, and Goshu being one of those new guys, the young guys that came over from, was it called Quake Arena? Quake Live? I don't know the name, but a sort of...
I think it's the latest.
Yeah.
Version.
And they have played a lot, and they've gotten a lot better because of playing a lot versus great clans such as Black Book. And, E1M2 has by far been the TB3 map where they have been the strongest. By far. We've seen them win versus, I think, everyone. And that's not just this season, but also last season of EQL, and they've only gotten better, and especially so Goshu, right? So it's no surprise that we're seeing Goshu at the top together with TCO. But as for
I just want to say that while talking about Goshu, and I mean, it says a lot that he's being appointed as a captain in Division 1. But I'm glad for the Polish Quakeworld scene that has been playing for so long and have many great players. But they had like I wouldn't say a rough time, but they haven't really had those players that could form a strong Division 1 team. But looking at Goshu and some of the other players coming up right now, I got big hopes for the Polish community and scene to really pull together a good team.
Oh yeah, the more the merrier. That's super true, in Quake. And before I forget, staring at the banner there, I have to give shout-outs to Andy for bailing my ass out, borrowing or lending me the Sudden Death TV spec client that we're using now. Big up, Andy, thank you for that.
Yeah, that explains why you had the Sudden Death promotion banner.
Yeah. I had to explain this, otherwise people might think I'm some kind of a fan, which obviously I'm not. I have nothing against any clan, but I'm not a fan of anyone except my own clan, for the record. That's the case.
Can I just ask a question here? I just wanna, since you're my cousin, XERIAL.
Yep.
Would you be able to play in this game? Are this your skill level, or it's maybe a little bit personal,
No.
between us?
No, for sure.
I enjoy this question. I love it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. I would be able to play in this game.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not saying I would dominate the game. I could have a good game and I could do really well. And I'm not a star player here. If you look at it purely in terms of sort of not my subjective opinion here, but if you look at the draft, I did play in this draft, and I was picked 4th in Division 1. So I could have played this game, and I mean I play versus I guess all of these guys. I believe you would
be the best player.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do.
No, but seriously, I know you're trying to be humble, Serial, but to be honest, you're an old Division 0 player, as we call it in Quake, when you are among the best. And in my opinion, you were definitely moving there, and it was pretty close, right? You almost you lost the last round of the games.
Yeah.
Draft, right?
Yeah, we've had a terrible draft, not in terms of the players and the team and the sort of spirit, but in amount of games played. Our draft team was not really blessed with the best vacation schedules, mishaps with illnesses, and so we have the least maps played. I checked the stats, and that's why we didn't. I almost said we made it to the playoffs, but that would be stupid to say, since everyone did. But we got eliminated by Anders' team, actually. But it was even. I think they dominated us on one map, but the other maps were fairly even. And one was even really close. Yeah.
There always has to be someone losing, and sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, that's the part of the game, right? That's I've seen it now from I was talking about the young players in CS and etc. People today don't understand that losing is actually a big part of the game, because that's when you learn the most. That's when you see the mistakes you're doing. And I mean, I would assume.
I agree.
I would assume you said that you lost to Anders' team, and I just assumed that you learn a couple of things, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have pushed here, maybe I shouldn't have done this, etc., etc.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a big part that I feel like, I mean, okay, now you guys are a little bit older than me, but in my world I am very old, and for me it's just common sense and knowledge, or whatever you want to say, to lose a game. I mentioned I lost a semifinal of a major once, and I lost a final of a major, which is the biggest tournament in CS. And I just learned so much. It just made me a much better player.
Yeah.
But what about you, LV? Would you be able to play in this game, like with your skill level and everything?
be honest, yeah, I would be able to play in it. The question is whether I would deliver or not. I haven't been very consistent, and I haven't been very active lately. So I'm actually in the draft league, but in the Division 2. I got picked quite late, and that felt pretty good. I think I wouldn't. I'm not sure. I would be super comfortable in. I mean, okay. The thing is, like, whenever you're with teammates on a different skill level, you kind of elevate yourself, I would say. Yeah. So, and I've been playing in a high level setting, so I know I can make it. It's usually about, to be honest, a lot about motivation, and usually, in my case, I'm not sure that goes for you, Michael, or for XERIAL, but I kind of need some motivation, like a game that really matters. Sometimes the practice games doesn't really does it for me.
And
but
yeah, but I think we now have to, turn the humble bottle your way, LVR, because it should be noted that Pepe, Mike, as you can see, who's playing for us at the moment, is playing in Div 1, or played in Div 1 in the sort of main season that we have, which is the European Quake League. And Pepe and LV are on the same team, so LV just finished a month ago, a whole Div 1 season. So then the draft can be different, because there's a different amount of players, not everyone signs up, etc. So
yeah,
it's a lot about to do what you, I mean, how your performance feels like for the moment. That kind of goes into my answer, I would say, as well.
Yeah, but when it comes to like playing with people that you know and the synergy, and you're feeling more comfortable with certain players, then I assume also that you're performing better.
Yeah,
individually.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like it's the same in all the FPS games. I have a couple of people that when I play with them, I just like you said, like you elevated your game, because you just know that they're gonna have your back, and if you're pushing, they're gonna follow you, they're gonna have your back, and I mean, that just gives you confidence, and you just feeling more comfortable, and you can just perform better overall.
You're spot on. It's funny you say that, because it's so much to do with intuitively you have people that you played with before, but also players who understands your playstyle and you understand it. Because I'm very much a very offensive player. I sometimes go in quite. I leave my head and just go cerebrally, if you know what I mean. And that can really end up being a disaster if the rest of your team doesn't understand it or back you up. So I totally agree and understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It matters a lot. So, guys, we have 15 seconds left. I really love the discussion, and I think there's a lot of valuable points. There's even more to talk about.
This was one of those maps, right, that we could have that discussion, because it was quite obvious early on that this would go one way.
Yeah. And, coming back to the topic of mental strength, okay? If we think about the example here, now as lost a real close Schloss, and they lost quite big on E1 and 2. What do you need to do? How much does it matter now to get that mental strength back, that shape? What do you do, Mike? Like, if you're playing a game, you're in this moment, and everything just feels like shit, you're not performing, it's not going well. I talked about having a leader that motivates you, and that's one thing, but what do you do? What's your thought process? How do you reset?
I mean, me personally, I would probably go more aggressive if I'm talking about CS now, which I have to. Since if you're down 2-0 and you're losing, something you're doing is not right, and something is obviously wrong, which is fine. But you just need to maybe get out of your own comfort zone and just play a bit different and maybe be a more aggressive. I don't know if that goes into Quake as well, but that's what I did at least. I tried to do stuff more random and not too predictable. And obviously, it might not work, but at the end of the day, you have nothing to lose now. Now you're the super underdog here, and you're down 2-0. You have to win. You have to do something else, you know. And that's where the leader comes in again. It's his job and his voice and his opinion now that has to do that. I feel like it's important. It's important.
Yeah, interesting point of view. Because I've always, you know, from playing football and also in Quake, I always tried to think, you know, in terms of the good old saying, the 0-0, you know, which means it's 0-0. To reset yourself. Doesn't matter if you're down, you know, 100 frags, or it doesn't matter if you're down 2 maps. It's still 0-0. Anything can happen, you know. But what I like about your point of view is that you are like literally compensating for the potential, you know, loss of confidence in that moment because of the losses by going more aggressive, by going more sort of taking more risks because, you have nothing to lose, as you said.
Yeah. Isn't that like something, Cyril, can't you relate to that? Because I totally can relate to the whole thing about going aggressive, because that forces you to leave your anxiety behind, right?
Yeah, I like it. And I think I like the underdog point of view. This is something I would say to the EXO guys from my own clan when we play that, you know, when we play versus the big guys, we're the underdogs. They are the ones that have all the pressure. We should just go in there and play like it was nothing else. Guys, we have the third map. It's Phantom Base, another one of those new maps, quote unquote. Actually, the newest one by far. Let's see what happens. This is going to be very interesting. Pepe is a great player on Phantom Base, and
looks like Goshu already picked up the pent and the quad.
Yeah,
he did. The scene.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Here we go.
So Goshu, and he, I would say, is probably the best player on this map. Someone can prove me wrong, but seeing how much they have played in SK on this map, giving him or not giving him, it's the R&D, right? He got the fence, but he didn't fuck it up. So this is a super strong start for him.
Yeah, and what you just saw there was a prime example of why Phantom Base is Phantom Base, and that's that you have a fully stacked guy with a weapon walking into a room and he gets a shaft straight in his back and he's dead at the courtesy of Pepe, who we just mentioned before. Narrow angles, not a lot of space. Shaft and quad, I would say here are, you know, that's the winning condition. If you can have both of those, obviously you need armor as well. But that makes it really stand out.
And don't forget about the Mega. That's it's kind of hard if you're holding red already, but if you keep the timing on the Mega, that's super strong as well.
Yeah.
Is this a bigger map?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I would
it's
say
bigger,
but the biggest one together with the Demon 3.
Yeah, it feels like it's way more spacious.
Yeah, it is. So it's bigger, but to the point earlier, as you can see here, there's a lot of corners. There's a lot of places for a sneaky, you know, player that has a lightning gun or a shaft, as we call it, to just put 12 cells in your back, and it doesn't really matter what stack you had. If you have a hit rate, you know, above 50%, you're gonna die. Yeah. So, yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you about that. I'm sorry for interrupting you. About the guns in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use every gun, or are some guns like useless?
Yeah, nail guns, useless.
All right.
Oh, sorry for just. That's my opinion. What do you think, Cyril?
I'm a bit embarrassed to say, but since I came back, I haven't bound nail gun to a key.
Yeah, well, that says it all then.
All right, so it's basically useless.
No, but I have to counter myself here and say that there are certain places on the map or certain maps where you have nail gun where it actually matters. But it's like a niche thing. There's no general utility to it. But if you think about
when you're out of ammo on your boomstick, right?
Yeah, sure. Like it's the last resort. That way the axe is as well, right? So it's not a good argument.
Yeah.
But if you think about E1, M2 and like rocket launcher, if you're waiting and you know someone is coming up, I feel like if you have the nail gun and just spamming cells into the water, it's gonna have a better effect than just boomsticking into a black hole, if you know what I mean. So there are certain situations, but overall, it's not gonna make or break a game.
And just to be clear about the terminology here, there's a nail gun and there's a super nail gun. The super nail gun is actually pretty decent, but the nail gun, that's pretty worthless.
All right, so if now, for example, wait, what was the name of the guys leading of the team? Was it Cool?
Yeah.
So
team,
now
Cool is up slightly right now.
I mean overall.
Oh yeah, it's Cool is ahead 2 maps.
Yeah. I was just not. I just didn't know the name. But so now, for example, they could just put out the nail guns this map and troll a little bit and be a little bit BM. Does that work? Does it work like that?
Oh yeah, you could do that. You can do that. I think the worst is like I think CS is the same. Like you have the knife, we have the axe, and if someone axes you, just for the fuck of it, Maikelele, it's gonna be annoying. I don't think there's any player in this scene that wouldn't be at least partly frustrated that you just got axed, because it's so rare.
There's not that much of BM in Quakeworld. I guess it has to do with the scene being quite small, but I mean, there's an avenue for some BM as well. I agree. But we can't do the, what do you call it, the teabagging. We can't crouch.
like you do in CS.
Yeah.
I know. I played. I don't know if people know who GetRight is, but he is one of the biggest and most known CS player in the history of the game. And we played in the same team, and he was this type of guy that if someone teabagged him or were shooting his corpse after he died, he would get really, really tilted. And it would affect him a lot. And I remember every time I played against him, I always told my teammates to do it, because I know it's affecting him.
Yeah.
And it was just a tactic, it's nothing personal, it's on the server.
Of course. If it's so obvious that you get tilted, why not use that? But to be honest, there's no, I mean, apart from like spamming something in text, I mean, there's not so much you can do, right? What do you say, XERIAL?
No, not game mechanically wise, not so much. And I think that's probably for the better. One of the things I love about this game is the fact that it's a small community, and that most people know each other in one way or another. Although we have an issue that we don't really have any means of kind of securing the identity at all, which is, it does open up for some problematic behavior. Not mechanically necessarily, but going in anonymous, fake nicking, etc. Is something I would rather see thing of the past, to be honest.
Could also be that we are at best winning some pocket change at the tournament, while Counter-Strike, there's a lot more on the line.
Yeah. We do see a comment here from Gustav about discharging, which is I guess it's an honorary mention when it comes to bad manners or trolling. And to explain that to you, Mike, it's when you have a lightning gun and you go into the water and you use it, and you electrify the water. So depending on how much you have, but most of the time, most people that are in the water, including your teammates, will die. And if you're at
that's
surf,
a thing?
it's
Might have to stop playing this game, actually. That sounds
There's
fun.
There's actually a tactic for that, and XERIAL noticed as well. Like on DM3, you can, especially when a quad challenges the rocket launcher area, you can like, if you just pop up off the surface and discharge, you will kill instantly anyone above you if you have enough cells. That is. So yeah, it can be used not just only for bad matters, but it can really annoy you. If you got a great stack, you got the quad, you're just gonna go in there and have your field day, and all of a sudden some low-level lamer discharges you. You're getting pissed, of course.
But I assume that like the water part, of the map is not like very common that you're there. Or?
Oh yeah, it's super common. The lightning gun is
common.
in the water on that map, so as soon as you pick it up, you know, if you're contesting the weapon, and you know that you're not going to make it out because there are 3 enemies there, you just blast and they all die, and yourself.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of funny instances, and I just want to say that if you want to watch a fantastic clip of a moment where it all went wrong, you should just look up Goblin at Discord, and he will give you a link to a fantastic clip where he discharges his own team outside Pent, and not the enemy team. So it's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah. So just to be clear, Mike, it will kill those that are in the water, but if you're at the surface and you're looking up and you can visibly see someone, and if you use it there, they die also. So don't ask me about the sort of physics of that. This isn't, a realistic game, but it will electrify basically the air and kill. That's that quad runner that Elvia mentioned earlier. So it's like a Molotov cocktail, like functionally. It's the poor man's way of rioting against that rich quad runner coming to take his crops and rape his wife.
That's a good comparison. I love it. That's good. That's a great one.
All right, but is it how do you say it? Like, is it agreed before that you should not do it, or if it?
No. There are no. I don't think there are any such agreements in this game that I can think of.
Right.
Everything that you can do in the game that will benefit you and your team, you do it. Right. Maybe you shouldn't kill your teammates, right? But that's I think too standard.
Right?
Yeah.
In CS 1.6 we had the shield. I don't know if people remember, but you could buy like the big fat shield that protected your entire body.
Shield, right?
Yeah, but that was like no one ever used it, because if you used it, like it was kind of against the rules. There were no rules of it, but between the players, there was rules that we should not use it.
It kind of said to the other ones that you're a noob.
Yeah, I mean, kinda, but it was just so BM to use it, and no one wanted it to be there. I mean, it was the same with the Molotov cocktail and in the Incendiary in the beginning of when they released CS:GO. All the teams and players agreed to never use it because they thought it was too overpowered. But then people just started to learn. They just started to learn how to play with it, and then it's one of the. It's a very big part of the game right now when it comes to strats and tactics.
But if I think about, sorry to interrupt me, Mike, but if I think about like how Quake used to be like 20 years ago or so, at least if my memory serves me right, there was a lot more complaining about camping. Oh, it's camping this, camping that. I'm not saying on like the top level, obviously, but in general, people were complaining about it. But it kind of is a bit paradoxic to talk about camping as something negative when it's a game where you're supposed to defend resources that are stationary. So there's gonna be more camping. Now I think the difference between already 20 years ago, to be honest, but even more so now, is that you don't really camp as much as you did before. You don't, set up the tent and just wait there. Instead, it's much more about timings and rotations. So, it's not the same.
But I feel like I feel like camping, I mean, that was a big, like whatever you said, but in CS, you know. But I think that's just a long time ago people got mad at. Like today we have a specific role for lurkers in CS, which basically means that you're just gonna sit somewhere on the other side of the map while your team is on the other side of the map. You're just gonna sit there and wait for the perfect opportunity to strike. And I mean, essentially that's camping. But I know that a long time ago in CS, 15 years ago, maybe longer, people complained about camping. Oh, you're a camper, yada yada. It was a troll move, or whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like old school.
I don't think
But today it's just a part
ever
of the
been an issue in Quakeworld, apart side from maybe FFA.
Yeah, especially in FFA. True, especially in FFA.
Yeah.
I mean, people will still, they won't accuse you unnecessarily unless they're kind of bad, mannered or poor losers. But you get, of course, frustrated when someone is extremely good at locking down a particular area, and you wish they would go and iron their shirt or something. When at yellow, like the yellow area on DM3, when you're down and they have locked that particular area that they locked at is terrible. Like red back room at DM2 is the same.
DM2 lockdown can be really frustrating as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just that's just a part of the meta, or how should you say it? Like,
Yeah. I someone very wise man in his 60s told me that if you want to try your marriage, do wallpapering with your wife, and let's see how that goes. I would say, play DM2 and get map blocked with your wife, and let's see how that goes. Screw your wallpapering. It's nothing compared to being just recycled all over the map.
I'm not sure I get the resemblance, but I would probably not enjoy doing wallpaper with my wife if I had one.
Well, there you go. Spot on, my friend. Intuitively you agree, but intellectually you don't quite see the point, yeah.
No, I don't see it.
I rest my case. Guys, what's happening on the map here? We have a sort of the same pattern as the last games, quite a significant lead for the cool dudes, as a lot of people have predicted in chat.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that this would be a closer game, and for what it's worth, I thought that Schloss was going to be the closest one, and it looks like that was actually the case, because this one has kind of...
This looks like a stomp.
Yeah, I would say it's a bit of a stomp. Too bad, actually. But Goshu as captain has been on fire on all maps.
Oh yeah, it's been both a pleasure and a horror to see him play in a different constellation. That's what the draft is a lot about, right? That you get to see, hey, how would this look with this combination of players? Because there are these sort of settled structures, hierarchies, as you mentioned earlier, Elvia, dynamics from clans. Some of them are very old. Some of them always play with the same lineup. What happens when you mix things? And of course, I'm just thinking about Milton, for example, who I remember 20 years ago. He was a known, very skilled player who did, at least, before I quit in 2004-05.
SSC times when he played in SSC.
Oh yeah, SSC times. Everyone, I knew he was good, but I never faced him in like official games because he was playing in Div 2, because he was playing with friends. So he was a really strong player who sort of carried in Div 2, and as soon as he made the jump into a team where you had Div 1 players, that's when Milton started becoming the Milton that we are used to seeing today. And obviously, I'm not saying that SK is Div 2 now, although it wasn't that long ago they were. And Goshu is the star player. it's scary to see how even more dominant he can be.
Well, this
And
is
also on other
point.
maps than just Kenya, right? Which is what you have associated them with before.
And it's I mean, you can't talk about the draft league without mentioning Milton, because this is where he shines in all aspects of the game, of course. But whoever I talk to that have played with him says it's like his way of captaining is what lifts other players, and draft league that's the whole essence of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
And I've only listened in to Andy through Pepe's stream, and Andy has, I think, he has a lot of those qualities. As I said, I haven't either watched or listened to Goshu though, so obviously he has some quality to it himself.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that last sort of extra ingredient as a player. When you have the movement, when you have the aim, when you have the map awareness. If you on top of that also have the sort of mental resilience that we have mentioned earlier today quite a few times, and the communication and, the patience, Jesus Christ, that's like a superhuman, and I have played mixes with Milton. That's not the same as an official, obviously, with the clan, but I've also watched a lot of his games, and he does have that as well. And that, I think, is the sort of really the separating feature of him, that he has that ability.
Yeah, and then of course his own individual skill, which he even gets better every time, because if you compare to other players, he actually, after each game, he thinks about what went wrong and thinks about what he could have done better. Something we all could learn from. So we're about to round off the third map and the game. It was not a super close game, to be honest, as we talked about. But it also makes it sure that we have the best draft team in the final, right? Because this is the semifinal.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm a little heartbroken, because the mind wants what the mind wants, or the mind kind of analyzes and thinks that it can predict outcomes, and that's one thing. But the heart, my friends, always wants a 5-game series when it's a best of 5. That's what the heart wants. And we didn't get that.
Higher hopes for our friends, right?
But I still think Anders' team has done a great job, because they came in quite with a weak start. Ander had some adventures on the boat. That I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but to me it looked like they were not entirely planned, and life happens, and he couldn't partake in the beginning, and they had really rough start, and then they picked up their sort of pieces and did really well and went to the semi. So hats off to them. As for the sort of what you call it, not the spiritual final, but the final that people are expecting. If you just look at from the captain point of view, but also from how many maps have been played, what's been the performance, it is the cool dudes versus Milton's mutants. And I should know, I am at least one of the administrators of this tournament, but in the other semi-final, we will have I guess that's the one where we have had a lot of shenanigans or unfortunate scheduling events on the Discord, where it should have been Milton Mutants versus Paratroopers, but I'm not sure what's going on over there. It's a little bit in the balance. Either of those two teams, should it materialize, which I really hope for the sake of the scene, will be...
The scene lately is that Milton's team will get a walkover.
Okay.
Sad to say, but
yeah. And that means that we're going to see the final that probably people expected, and also, if you think with your mind, at least you want to see Milton facing off Goshu. I can tell you guys. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just gonna need to give a bit shout out. Goshu was, of course, what I see, standout player of his team. But I need to give a shout out to Splash, who did a phenomenal E1M2, I think it was, right? We had best efficiency of the team and really brought it home for them. So, but Goshu, without a doubt, what a player and a captain.
Yeah,
Hats off.
Yeah, very strong performance. I can say that I also, by the way, on the topics of shoutouts, I should give shout out to my old buddy KR, or as he's more known, Slusken from Mad Giants Foundation of Eskilstuna, who supplied the introductory music that we have, or he has all the rights to. Thank you for that. Excuse me. Are we gonna? We're not gonna see any more maps. No, everyone has left the server, which is a shame. Understandable, perhaps. When you've lost 3 in a row, you don't necessarily want to, or might not have the energy to finish with 2 others.
Are we in a hurry to end the stream, or could I just ask you, Michael, because you mentioned, we talked a little bit. I mean, the importance with the captains, and I think. From my perspective, that's something that's really interesting and really important in going into Counter-Strike as well. I mean, I'm not asking you to call out some people, but maybe you experienced a captain or a manager who's been very important to you. How important is it in Counter-Strike to have a leader, so to speak, to pick up the team?
It's like it's just so important, especially in a team like CS, where first of all we're 5 players, we have a coach, we have a manager. There's a lot of people, a lot of emotions, a lot of different opinions, and then it just comes down to kind of collect everything and make the best out of it. Because I'm a guy that I'm always gonna say what I want to say. If I think something is bad, I'm gonna mention it. But there are some players that are just completely quiet, and you just got to know that. You just have to feel it and understand that. All right, now it's time to bring his point of this up as well, because I know that he's just gonna be quiet, and in that way, you're just making the team more collective. People are gonna feel better and stronger together, and that was my thing when I played. I was always the guy that it's very easy that you have different groups in teams. You have 2 players here and you have 3 players there, or 2-2-1, and that's the worst thing that can happen especially in a CS team. So what I was really good at was to collect everyone, to be a part, to be a team, because it's at the end of the day, you want the same thing, and that's to win. And you can't achieve that if you're not a team. And if you don't want to be a part of that team, then obviously there's other options for you as a player. But yeah, it's just super important. Yeah. And
yeah,
you said that. Yes. Sorry, just a quick. You said that there's probably some leaders and some people that have been that for me as well. I'm playing a lot with Devilwalk, which is he won the first major in CS. He also won 2 majors as a coach. He's one of the most recognizable coaches in CS history. He used to be my coach.
He pretty much brought Fnatic to where they were.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And I mean, me and him, we are best friends, and we just get along super well. He lives up north in Sweden in a city called Umeå, which is a couple of hours away, so we don't meet each other as often. But we were hanging out the other day, and we're just enjoying our each other's company. So he's very important for me, and I've learned a lot from him. And he was just a tremendous coach and a friend to me, and always put me in the right spot.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, and I think it's something that we can, I mean, learn from. I think we have a lot of good leaders in Quakeworld, but in not that sense. And whatever you hear from like pro teams, like in CS:GO or in Dota or whatever, it's like, oh, you need to have a sports psychologist. That might be true, but we're not in. I mean, we don't have that kind of money, and it's usually much older players. So you feel like you could only, as long as you have a player or a team leader that like vibes with you and have the right sense, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was in the end of my career, the sports psychologists and everything got a spot in CS teams. I never really worked with one, so I can't really say too much how it was. But like, I feel like when it comes to CS and team games, one thing that I've learned the most is from when I was playing football as a kid, because then you have a coach, you have teammates, you get to learn how to play with it together, you know? And that, I feel like that's very important. You just grow up in this, but then there are some people that never were interested in sports that never had that. So they have to learn it in CS, or for you maybe in Quake. And I mean, yeah, you know, it's, I don't know. I just feel like leadership needs to be studied in a way. You have to understand it. You kind of have to have it inside of you. You just can't like one day wake up and then be like, I'm gonna be a leader today. It kind of needs you need that power, basically. You know.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as a leader as well, you're gonna have a lot of people that doesn't like you at all, that don't like the way you are handling situations and stuff. And I mean, that's just life. Like, you can go to any work, you can go to work at McDonald's, and they're gonna be people. Some coworkers not gonna like how you put the cheese on the burger or whatever. Like, you know, it's just an example, but you understand what I mean. Like,
yeah. I think, you know, the first thing you need is someone that gives you a chance. And for some people, that's all you need. Then you take that chance. It means like one of the better players, the higher level players, you know, doesn't drop out of the server or tell you to fuck off when you try to join in a sort of high level mix. If you get that chance, that's a way in. And I think that's the chance a lot of the people who are playing now once upon a time took. I hope that they're still giving it. From what I can see, I think we are. But the thing that'll really level you up is what you're talking about now. It's that it's not only, you know, to allow someone to take the spot, but to see them for the potential that they have, what they could be, and then to actively communicate the you know, themselves back to them, what they don't see, you know, what they don't see that they could be, to be that kind of leader, that coach. That's what will really unlock someone's skill, or at least accelerate their development. And I think that's
back to, sorry, I was just thinking about, that goes back to what we talked about before the stream, right? About Maikelele's new endeavor.
Yeah, exactly. That's on like high scale, mass scale, what you talked about. I'm not sure how much we can talk about that now. You'll have to say, Mike, but
I mean,
if you want to,
I think it's fine. I think it's completely fine.
Yeah. But I have to. I did ask chat if there are, you know, any questions for our guests from our cousin game, not just my cousin as such, if you will, or cousin is the wrong word. Maybe grandchild is a better word for the relationship between Quakeworld and CS, because obviously Half-Life was the kid that then spawned you guys. So we have a question from space, which is very, you know, straightforward. Do you still play, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, not professionally. I stopped playing professionally. 2020, I think. And but yeah, I still play. Right now, it's more, it has been more on and off. I haven't been grinding as much as I used to, which was a lot. But yeah, I still play. I mean, I grew up on CS, or with CS. I love CS. That's basically my life. So yeah, I still play. For
Yeah.
fun.
I guess you will always,
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because there's some people that are like, why don't you become a coach? But I have a huge issue with that. It's that I feel like I'm too good to be a coach. So if I would be a coach for a team and I would see someone not perform good, I would feel like I could just do better. Just let me get that spot,
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a good combination.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's I've seen these clips online of I'm a sucker for football clips, and there's a game with like between let's say Real Madrid and Barcelona, and there's some old fart who's coaching one of the teams, and then the ball goes out, high up, and it lands on him, and he just fucking brings it down like it was
like it was in its prime.
Yeah, like it was attached to his body, and then everyone just applauses. But obviously his physical form would prevent him from participating on the field. But we don't have that limitation. You could talk about ability to react and the arm and the hand, of course, but it's not even near the same. So I can relate to that predicament. I have another question. But I'm not sure if this is a troll question, so forgive me if it is, but how much are those trunks benching? Oh, it's for okay, now I get it. So
I don't think that's
LV, it's for you, yeah, obviously. Then it makes sense. Also, what is he talking about?
Well, I think it depends, because if it's space from Quakeworld back in the day, it's like I rather not answer that one. I think he's more up to the task than I am.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then what? Not so much anymore.
Yeah, if it is space from Legatus, then we have to give a shout out to an old legendary player. Very strong rivalry between. Oh, it's actually Say. Oh, okay. Yeah, no shout outs for you, Say. No.
In that case,
yeah,
whatever I feel like.
No, I'm just kidding. It's good to see you here, Say, but you do need to work on the nickname. You might as well take the nickname Doomer and join the chat if you're going to call yourself Space here. So homework for you, my friend. Jokes aside, we have another question for you, Mike, this time around. Who would you rank as the very best player that you have played with?
Oh, that's so easy. That's actually the most easiest question. I mean, you know him, LV, a little bit. It's Forrest. Forrest is, in my opinion, by far the best CS player in the history of the game. Like, for me, there is no other player that's even as good as him. And I mean, obviously, there are probably people as skilled as him. Maybe even better individually, but he just brings so much calm. I don't know, he's just so calm. And I have so many moments with him where his calmness just won us games. I have a specific one when my first tournament when I played with him. We played at the DreamHack Winter 2014 major. It was semifinal against Virtus Pro, which was one of the best teams in the world, and maybe even in the history of the game. And we were down something insane, like 14-3 or something. So we were 2 rounds away from losing. And he started to call, and he was just so calm. And we turned it around. We got it to 15-15. And then we played overtime, and we won the game. And we went to the grand final.
I remember that game.
Yeah, so it's him. And I mean, what a guy, man. What a player. Jesus Christ. He is just so goddamn good.
He also says that he used to play some Quakeworld, and every now and then met him, he says that he will kick my ass in Quakeworld, but we haven't yet to play that game. So, but I know he's like one of those cerebral, natural players. Whoever picks up whatever game he picks up, he's gonna perform.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if you know the game Heroes of New Earth. You know what it is. So when he was a pro player in CS, I think it was in the beginning of CS:GO, if I remember correctly. He was also a substitute on a professional team in Heroes of New Earth.
I didn't know that.
At the same time. That's actually crazy. So yeah, he can just play any game and be really good. He's that type of guy.
I was just gonna, before we take the next question, trying to make a witty comment about the biceps, being a theme for the questions now, because somehow Pasha Biceps kind of indirectly joined the conversation there through Virtus Pro. So let's see if we have a third question that can be seen through the lens of strong forearms. Space or Say goes for a question for Mike. Do you think peak Forest would be on the level of players today like Donk and Zywo? Is that the correct way of saying it?
Zywo? Yeah, I mean, if you take, obviously, we were probably much worse back 10, 15 years ago than what they are today. But if you take like the prime versus the prime and you compare it in, I don't know how to do it or even how to say it, like in the same era together, yes, definitely. Donk is special. I believe that he is going to be probably the greatest of all time in a couple of years. He's still young, but we have never seen anyone like him. But he's still so young and
bigger talent and Simple.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, he won. He became the best player in the world in his rookie year, and that never happened before. I think maybe Zywo actually. Maybe he actually ended second because he had to play against, or he faced Simple when he came up. But Donk became the best player in the world in his rookie year, which is insane. I mean, the kid is insane. Yeah.
What's the nationality of these guys?
Donk is Russian and Zywo is French.
Okay.
Yeah. Forrest is Swedish. So
oh, hey, I'm not that, Hey, I know I make sort of spiteful remarks about CSGO, and I will continue to do so. It's well within my right. But I do recognize that, that old NIP lineup is probably the closest CSGO will ever get to the 1994 Swedish national team lineup that ended up third in the World Cup. Yeah, it was uncalled for, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, Donk is good. Zywo is very good as well. I mean, at the moment, I think he's the most decorated CS player of all time. I think so. Especially now they won. They won the major yesterday. It's second or third major, which is insane.
He's got this Hall of Fame together with Get Right and
Hedon. Yeah.
Hedon, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hedon got it. I mean, he was the first one to get it, I think.
Yeah, Heaton and Get Right, and I think Forrest, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just the longevity with Forrest, right? I mean, he's been playing. I think he had his debut back in like 2005 or something. Maybe something like this, which is a long time ago, and he was on top of the game ever since. And he quit play maybe 3 years ago ish. So, yeah, I mean, obviously he needs to be seen as, the greatest, one of the greatest in FPS history, I would say.
But so I gotta ask you, Maikelele, why aren't you playing Quakeworld?
That's the best question of the evening.
That's a good question. Yeah. So I mean, I've actually suggested to my friends that we should start play a little bit.
Right.
It would be fun. I mean, we might actually do it, but that's the thing, right? So I told you about what I'm gonna do now, and that's obviously gonna eat a lot of time. But it's still not 100% that we will do it. But and if we're not doing it, me and Devilwalk, we always look for different and new games. I mean, obviously it's not a new game, but for us it's a new game. So maybe we're gonna join in and beat your asses one day. Who knows?
Yeah, I have to add to that yeah, Mike, you were here celebrating Midsummer at my house, and I caught you in a weak moment, looked into your eyes, and I said exactly the same thing that Elvia just asked. Hey man, why don't you do what you really want? You know, come play some Quakeworld. You know, I'll help you with the CFG. I'll get you started, and if you just put a little bit of time in with my guidance, in 1 year you could potentially play in the same division as me. And the funny thing is, he looks at me like hurt, insulted, saying like, 1 year? What? You don't think I could do it earlier? What do you think? What do you think? I'm bad? You think I'm not good? I said, my friend, that's a huge compliment to say to someone that if in 1 year from zero, and I'm not saying, you know, I mean zero as in like Quake experience, you could go to play in the highest division. That means you're some kind of a unicorn, in my opinion.
Obviously, you got the right attitude, so
yeah,
why not?
yeah, 1 to 30 years.
I think you're underestimating the power of someone that has played on the top scene of CS, that has been a complete degenerate and spent 16 hours a day for 20 years in the same game. You know?
I think I'm speaking for both me and XERIAL, saying that we would love to see you prove us wrong.
Yeah, and you know, it's you would of course have all the help, because I have to give back. You know, I know you have been very kind and said that I have been some kind of an inspiration to you, but on the topic of leadership that we talked about earlier, I mean, you're younger than me, but it's not like I was an adult when you were a kid. So you're six years younger than me. So when it's not like I was trying to teach you anything, I was just beating your ass, you know, and then game after game. So if you were to, which I'd really hope you would, accept this challenge, I would accept my role as helping you with everything to get started, and gladly so, you know.
Make sure we get a jersey for Maikelele as well, because I see he's missing one spot behind his head.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These are the shirts I represented at majors, like the teams. So the majors is, you know, the biggest, and
well, we got QH LAN, so
that's our major.
But, I mean, I would definitely be interested in trying and see how it is and learn it. Like I said, right now maybe I have other stuff on my mind. But
so
I mean,
2 years.
Yeah, no, but
give or take.
No, but I will definitely try it and see how it is. Because I still believe, but that's the power of my brain. I still believe that I could become the best Quake player if I really wanted to. But that's just my brain. That's how it works, you know.
Yeah.
Like, put me in any game and I would say the exact same thing. It's just not Quake. I don't know. I guess I have to think like that in one way.
Yeah.
And now people are laughing at me, I know, but you know, I'm pretty talented at FPS games, I would say.
I mean, it's not that big a jump if you've driven an automatic electric car to learn how to drive a car from like 85, right? You could do it.
Yeah, this car is pretty old by now.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if I have said this. I've said this many times to many people, but maybe not in this context. But I remember when you played for NIP, and you had a lot of success there in the beginning, and it was like you were super hyped, and you said, "Hey, come with me to Inferno Online," which is Stockholm's, I guess it's Sweden's biggest gaming cafe. Might be wrong on that, but it's definitely one of the biggest. And come with me there. NIP has their own kind of booth, 5 seats with branded stuff, and it's all fancy and nice. It's in a separate section of the gaming cafe. Come there, and I'm gonna get my revenge for all the times you beat me when I was a kid. And I go there. I don't know anything about like playing. I can't play CS:GO. I've never. I mean, maybe I tried whatever it was. If it was 1.6 when Half-Life, still had the mod under its sort of umbrella, and I get into the server, and I just buy the Deagle because I know that that's the sort of big move. Pardon my French. And you pop up, and I just headshot you, and you just die. And you're like, what? You just shot him. What the? How could this be? And then after that, it wasn't any fun anymore. I wish the story would have ended there, but yeah, I couldn't do much. But it was at least a sort of a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of memories.
In Quake, so you're safe.
Yeah. You're safe from that.
I have a lot of memories from when I had to play against XERIAL and our cousin called Matthias.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was so much younger at the time. I mean, I still am, but today we're older, so it doesn't really matter. But we always play. I remember you and me, we played Serious Sam once, and I actually practiced it a lot.
That game,
Yeah.
And I had no chance, and I was so frustrated. Oh my god, I was so frustrated. I didn't understand. And with our other cousin, we were playing a lot of StarCraft Vanilla and Brood War. And I remember one time I was practicing for a year because I knew he would come around like, I don't know, summertime, maybe it was Christmas time. And I practiced. And then he came and I played against him and I won. That was the best feeling I've ever had.
Mm. Yeah, and that that comes back to what we spoke about earlier, like those two steps of I don't know if I'm gonna call it leadership in the context of us being like 11 and you being 6 years old. That maybe we weren't leaders in that sense, right? But you got the chance to play with the old sort of older cousins, and you took it, and that was enough for you to persist and continue, and the sort of will to want to give back is what fueled you and made you beat him. And I see this a lot. I hear this a lot. Even Jave told me the other day, obviously my clanmate and one of my oldest friends in this game, how Nutcase and Lakerman and Nicodemus, those legends from 98, 97, 99. They're all from Uppsala where he was, and they would just beat his ass. But he got to kind of play in the game. No even teams, no thinking like, hey, let's spread us out, that clan, to make the game better. No, you come in and you get to play. And that was enough for him to fuel him to become a Div 0 player eventually. So yeah, give people a spot, give people a chance. It might be the next, Milton or Forrest or Zaiwu or whatever his name was. Before we continue, I just have to say one thing, because I see we've had I'm very happy to see we've had 27 solid amount of viewers even after the game ended, which is nice to see. It does seem as such that tomorrow at 21:30 there will be the Draft Masters 2 final between Milton's Mutants and the winning team from today's game, Cool Dudes, with Goshu at the helm. And I have agreed now in chat that me and Peppe will cast that one. So I had to say that before continuing. Sorry, Elve, did you have another question? Please go ahead.
No. I was just trying to be humble here, or not to be humble, but just point out that Maikelele, there could be a next Maikelele.
Yeah, next Maikelele.
I felt like you forgot one name.
Yeah, some of that arrogant 11-year-old resurfacing here. 29. How old am I? 29 years later. That's the case. Do we have any other questions? Maybe a last question before we wrap up. Let's see if chat has some ammunition.
I think I have a suggestion.
Oh, yes.
Why don't we do it like this? I mean, either you two can do it, or you can do however you want. But I bring one friend, and I bring Devilwalk. and we play, I don't know, a couple of FPS games. We play Quake 2v2, CS 2v2, and whatever floats, whatever we can figure out. Wouldn't that be fun?
Some of that, yeah.
Well, challenge accepted.
We're talking show match, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. We have to find a game. I don't know if we're doing it best of 3 or whatever, but we have to find one game that no one of us have really been playing,
I mean, if you're looking for 3
obviously-
games, Mike, why make it so difficult when you could have Quake 1, Quake 2, and Quake 3? It's like, it's all there. You can probably buy the pack at Steam for like -$1.
Yeah, but don't we have to add CS just to get that in?
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess so.
No. So
Yeah.
we can make it best of 5. But how big difference is it? Like Quake
course,
1, 2, 3, whatever,
I think you would have at least I'm not going to speak for you, everybody. If I speak for myself, I think you would have an honest shot in Quake 2, to be honest. Because for me to play Quake 2 now would be like playing an entirely new game, pretty much. Quake 3 translates. There's like...
That's funny. Why is that? I mean, because I had the same thing. Like Quakeworld, transitioning Quake 2, it wasn't my thing. I don't know, was it the railgun? And then all of a sudden you realized, okay, I gotta get to use this effing railgun, and went into Quake 3. Is that the thing?
I mean, they didn't. I think they didn't recognize that they had created like gold with Quakeworld. So they tried to do something quite different with Quake 2. The physics were off. Like, you didn't have bunny jumping. It just felt like a half-assed attempt at making the engine realistic, with realism. Whereas with Quake 3, they recognized that, oh shit, that's not why people play Quake. They don't want, because that's what makes CSGO or made CS a different game. That was realism, like full out for those days. Whereas
1 point whatever it was.
Yeah. You had the recoil, you had the slow movement, you had all of that. The weapons, like they were realistic.
Yeah.
Whereas Q2 was a half-assed step. So you left everything that was good about Quakeworld, and then you were not able to score the points of realism. So with Q3, they went back. Of course, obviously not the full way, so it's still another game, but it translates way more.
What did you play Quake 2, Quake 3, Maikelele?
I think Quake 3 I played the most whenever we had it at home when I was a kid. And because I remember the campaign was pretty fun, but I always played on easy, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but hey, that's, I mean, I accept the challenge. Helvia, if you accept it, then it's on. Then we have to, make it happen somehow.
I told you earlier that the only thing that motivates me that's actually games that matter. So I'm a first. Let's go.
Yeah.
CTF, Team Fortress, and then Team Deathmatch.
Let's throw in some CTF there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we can do like you pick 2 games, we pick 2 games, and then we pick like 2 more games each. That it's random. One just get picked. I don't know, something like this along this line. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I think it should be 3 games. It gets overly complicated otherwise. We play, Quake, CSGO, and then we take a third one.
Okay.
That would be my yeah, Unreal. Yeah, that would be a nice third one, because there's some
Unreal.
Yeah, I don't know which one. Obviously, I didn't play the sort of latest ones, but if I said earlier that Half-Life was kind of a child of Quake, and then CSGO was like a grandchild, I would say that Unreal, the first one, was like a younger brother. At least for
the game of the year, right? Unreal Tournament Game of the Year.
Is that the recent one, or do you mean is that the first, like the one of the first?
No,
it was the second Unreal, right? Yeah.
The first one is just that was the second one. The first one is just called Unreal, I think.
Yeah.
And then came
Yeah.
2004 something, whatever it was called.
Yeah, Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Unreal Tournament. Yeah.
You know what? Me and XERIAL will deep dive into what games that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
let's
suits
talk about it. Let's
Yeah. I mean,
Let's
it's,
open a conversation.
to be fair, I mean, Mike, you're painfully aware of our common Turkish origins, and you know that you need to respect your elders. So I will declare that me and Elvia will pick the third game. And there we
Okay.
go. Yeah. No, I'm just
Okay.
messing about.
I'm calling my mother.
Yeah. Oh no. Well then
Take it
yeah.
back.
Then this is off. The whole thing will be off. You know. 'cause,
I'm crowned as a winner already. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
Let's come back to it.
yeah, for sure.
Would be fun.
I mean, today's
Like
been
the
fun.
challenge. I'm up for it.
Yeah. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining in tonight. This was the first time since 2000 and I don't know, sometimes mid or early 2000s I ever produced a stream. So I had to do this in like a few days. So there was some hiccups. But all in all, I think it went well. And the reason why it went so well is because I've had such great guests and such great viewers. Because without you, this is just basically me talking to myself, which wouldn't have been nearly as fun as this was. So let's look at the future for Quake in positive terms. There will be more streams and casts and opportunities for us to engage not only on the map shooting at each other, but also in this more modern way, if you will. I've had a great blast, and I really look forward to casting the finals tomorrow as well, and to whatever it's going to happen with this kind of inter-game challenge that Mike just gave us. And also thanks to the players in AS and to the players in Cool for providing a game. Any last words, gentlemen?
We could just say that thank you very much, XERIAL, for inviting me to this stream. I enjoyed very much, and I truly, sincerely hope that this isn't the last time. You keep it up. This will, this is great. And thank you, Maikelele, for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys. It's been a blast. I had a lot of fun. It was fun to talk, get to know the game a little bit, and see it from a different perspective, because it's easy to get, to just see it in one straight line. So I understand it a bit better, and that's good for my future plan to beat the game. Nah, but seriously, it's been a blast. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks again, guys, for joining. Really appreciate it. You're always welcome to come back, Maikelele, as you know. Take good care and hydrate, sleep, and come back for the final tomorrow.